There's a new subvariant of Omicron circulating in Canada and around the world. Here to talk to us about EG.5 is Dr. Donald Vinh. Thank you for your time today. So what do we know so far about this COVID-19 subvariant? There is an increase in cases. Is it more contagious than what we've seen?
Yeah, so just a bit of background information. This new variant, which is called EG.5, is actually within the Omicron big family, but specifically within the XBB subfamily. So XBB 1.5 has been the predominant strain, for the last several months. And now an offshoot of that is this EG.5. This EG.5 is actually increasing in several countries. In Quebec and in Canada, it certainly has increased depending on the data that we're looking at. In Canada, it's currently about 30 to 35% of cases. Quebec's data is a little bit behind by about a month. And based on that older data, it's about 20%. That's about what we're seeing also in the US and in Britain and in India and other countries. So it's definitely a global phenomenon. Now, what we know about EG.5 is that it's more transmissible. In fact, that is the reason why it is becoming the more predominant variant, because it is more transmissible. And as a result of that increased transmissibility, the WHO calls it a variant of interest. What's not clear is the disease that it causes. It doesn't look like it causes, more frequent severe disease or more severe disease in terms of complications. But again, that's a bit biased by the fact that we don't have full data on hospitalization and death rates.
Now, what about those who do have their COVID-19 vaccine? Are we protected from this specific variant?
We have to go back and think about the COVID vaccine strategy, right? Because the original vaccines, particularly if you're talking about the mRNA vaccines, were monovalent. In other words, they only targeted one strain, and they targeted that original strain. And at the time, there was a spot that if you had two, that would be sufficient. So if you're in that category where you've only had 2 doses of vaccines, and it was in the original distribution of the vaccines, well, then absolutely you're not well protected. Now, the other thing is that if you've had more of the modern vaccines, what we call the bivalent vaccines, which includes either BA1 or BA5, depending on which ones you got, those BA variants are in Omicron. And because they're in Omicron, if you've got them within the last several months, you should probably have some level of protection against this EG.5. Again, that's just based on the analysis of the strains. We don't actually have hard data on that yet. But with the new formulations that are anticipated to come out in the next 2 months or so, those new formulations are planned to contain the XBB variant. And I mentioned before that EG.5 is part of that XBB family. So that booster dose is anticipated to provide good protection against EG.5.
Okay, doctor, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.